Hey everyone, George here, the Disney Italiano, coming to you with another solo live. Yep, just me, myself, and I. I'm gonna answer some of your questions. We'll have a discussion about pretty much anything you like to talk about. Coming up from this Italiano solo live, part of Orange Grove 55. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Again, I am George, the Disney Italiano, coming to you with another solo live. Yeah, I had nothing really too much to do, and I thought, why not do a live, have some fun with all y'all, and see what's going on in the Disney community. I mean, we haven't really had too much uh, theme park news proclaiming to Disney, a little bit here or there. Um, but actually more so for Epic Universe, which we could get into that a little bit. But before we do, I just have to say, if anyone would like to find me on social media, as of right now, I do not have X. I'm having some technical difficulties, being that my account was hacked. So unfortunately, you cannot find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. But you could find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. So without further ado, let's get this solo live going. I'm going to kick it off with my one and only, my babe, Abby. How you doing, Abby? Hope everything is well. Hope work is going good for you. But she says hi to everyone, and of course, there's my Italiano. Yep, I'm the Italiano. She's my little Filipina. So there we go, kicking it off. Okay, so we got a few questions starting off. Let's start it off with Mr. Trip Johnson. Hey, Italiano, do you think Disney will retheme Liberty Square? Good question. I actually had a conversation with a few people about this because um, Liberty Square is not what you call a full-fledged land. I know it was kind of like off the beaten path of Main Street, USA, like, and then down where the hub is, where the partner statue is. I do love the overall aesthetic theme to Liberty Square, but again, it's not like substantial enough where it can hold a whole land. I always thought that maybe in time they can kind of transform the Hall of Presidents into kind of like a chaotic like Muppet show where they can actually bring the Muppets over into Magic Kingdom, because they used to have a show um, in Liberty Square for the Muppets. And then just in case, and I know it's not the same, it's not Muppet Vision 3D, but in the unlikely event that Muppets goes away from Monsters Inc., they'll have another home in the Magic Kingdom. Plus, obviously with the Haunted Mansion still being part of Liberty Square, I do wonder if in time, if the Haunted Mansion would then become part of the Villain's Land, because it'll be adjacent to it. Because I was actually talking to OG about this, and I think it would be awesome if they added the long due waiting that people were talking about was a Haunted Mansion themed restaurant adjacent to the ride. And we kind of get a little taste of it right now with the Haunted Mansion kind of bar and parlor that they have on the Disney Treasure that literally just got christened the other night. It's making its rounds from when it left Germany into Port Canaveral, Florida, now up in New York, before it makes its maiden voyage on December 21st of this year, which I did get to see some of the interior of the ship, and it looks phenomenal. The ship looks amazing. It's the sixth one in the fleet, and by 2031, there's going to be 13 ships total thus far, but I'm for sure it'll grow more from there. But the reason why I bring that up is because, again, they have the Haunted Mansion bar and parlor, which is very, it's the aesthetics of the Haunted Mansion ride itself, but of course it's a bar, kind of lounge kind of area. So I think that would be that would be awesome if they kind of bring that to the Magic Kingdom, but in a restaurant form. and they could have it adjacent to the ride, and you can kind of move the haunted mansion into the villain's land without it actually being part of villain's land. So that way, maybe in time, Liberty Square could become something else. That'd be interesting. Okay, Mr. Matthew Murr, all the way from the UK. Let's see. Do you think there's anything Phil Collins could have done to allow Brother Bear's soundtrack to surpass that of Tarzan, or do you think it was just an impossible task? Here's the thing. I think with projects, it's like lightning in a bottle. It's kind of like a hit or miss kind of thing. And I think in the case of Tarzan, it was just without the soundtrack that Phil Collins had made for Tarzan, the movie would not have been what it was. That I think it's still a great story, but the music carried the story, and I feel like that Collins did something with the soundtrack that was just phenomenal. Not saying that Brother Bear wasn't good. It worked for that movie, but I think it just didn't hit the mark to what Tarzan did for sure. But again, it could have. I don't really think there's like a right or wrong way of. It just depends on if something hits right. And Matthew continues. I believe Disney advertising his comeback for Brother Bear may have been a marketing tactic to try and make up for Treasure Planet bombing as hard as it did. It's possible. Yes, Treasure Planet, was didn't do so well. Neither did Atlantis, but yeah, they may have brought Phil Collins on, just to see how it would do well with Brother Bear because it worked well with Tarzan. I do love the movie Brother Bear, don't get me wrong, but I prefer Tarzan more, not just because of the soundtrack, but I just prefer Tarzan. But the soundtrack is phenomenal, and Phil Collins definitely deserved that Oscar for best song. You'll Be in My Heart, obviously. So Matthew continues. Second question. Think Howard Ashman was still alive in 2016. Do you think he'd be willing to write the lyrics for Moana, or do you think he'd be too thrown by the musical style? Been so much more ethnic than The Little Mermaid or even Aladdin, and also by the prospect of having to write for The Rock. Here's the thing, Matthew, with Howard Ashman. He was such a great talent, a genuine human being, and I think honestly, no matter what project he would have been attached to, he would have been able to tackle it head on. Regardless if there was like an ethnic background to it or not. It probably would have been a completely different style of storyline tied with the music if he had done Moana, because obviously Lin-Manuel Miranda has his style, Howard Ashman has his, but I think if he did, he would definitely be able to tackle it, no matter what. Let's see. And the Giant Peter Show says it literally is a continuation of the ride. I'm assuming you're meaning for the Haunted Mansion on the cruise ship. Giant Peter Show, I think that's what you're referring to. And let's see, you continue. The Tarzan soundtrack was a god tier soundtrack. I still have the CD in my CD/DVD case. Yeah, it really was. The Tarzan soundtrack was phenomenal. It still is. It was just the type of music that fit the film, and there are certain times where it's like you collaborate with a particular music artist or what have you, and you just don't know like which way it's going to go. But this definitely was a good lightning in a bottle with Disney teaming up with Phil Collins, for sure, definitely. Yeah, so for me, I feel that yeah, just like some, just different things that works well. As I said, for Brother Bear, it worked, and it just didn't hit the right notes. As I said, just like, no one knew how the Lion King was going to go. A lot of the animators, it was like Do we want to work on a animal version of Hamlet, or do we want to work on Pocahontas? A lot of the animators were kind of, spooked by the fact of, working on the Lion King. So majority of them went over to Pocahontas, and people said, oh yeah, you know no one's going to worry about this little lion cub who grows up that is destined to become king. His father gets murdered by his brother, and like, who's going to watch that? Where it became one of the greatest, not even animated films, but just greatest movies in all of cinema history. So, and it definitely outranked Pocahontas for sure. Not saying Pocahontas wasn't a good movie, very good movie, but in the shadows of the Lion King, you can definitely kind of see the difference there. Let's see, the Giant Peter show. The Marvel restaurant on the new ship looks cool. I love the reference to shawarma scene from Avengers. Yeah, it's funny how they kind of tie those things together. Yes, exactly. Yes, Lion King was Disney's Hamlet for sure. But yeah, going back to the Marvel restaurant. I'm okay with the Marvel restaurant. Like, it's not really my thing. I mean, it's really cool. I think it fits well um for the young kids and everything with the superheroes. As I said, it's not really like my favorite kind of restaurant. But I am curious to see how they tackle it, because even though it's the Worlds of Marvel restaurant, how it kind of is designed like on the Disney Wish, but this one's gonna more so, I guess, be themed around Groot from the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I think it's cool that they have the same restaurant, but they have a different kind of overall, theme to it or something. But for me, yeah, you just never know, like, when it comes to, really what's going to work or what's not going to work, because the stuff that you think that may not work, that's what ends up becoming more successful. So I always say, just like Mr. Walt Disney, take the risk. Can't hurt you. He was the man behind risk and imagination, and look where it got him. Look where it got the company to today. So we owe all, our everything to Mr. Walt Disney himself. But kind of now backpedaling, I mentioned in the beginning of the live that there wasn't a whole lot of Disney kind of news coming out of the parks. But I think that's because when Demaro made the announcement at D23 of construction will be starting in 2025 for majority of these projects, the Cars themed area in Frontierland, at Magic Kingdom, Monsters Inc. at Hollywood Studios, the Tropical Americas for Animal Kingdom, and all the other projects. I think that we had the expectation in our minds that we would have known before 2025. But I have a feeling moving forward, especially now, that we're going to get the news the same year as they start the construction. Because he didn't mention anything at D23 in California. We sure as hell didn't get no news from D23 Brazil. And with the holidays going on, I think Disney is trying to focus more on that, getting through, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's during the holiday season. And then once the new year comes, new slate and everything, then we'll start getting the news for sure of when construction starts, and more importantly, where it is going to start, especially with the Monsters Inc. Area, of whether or not it's going to replace Muppets or the Animation Courtyard, or hey, who knows, it may even go somewhere else. You never know. But here's the thing everyone has to understand, and OG and I talked about this many times on the show, that if, just to say, Monsters Inc. does not go into Muppets, and it goes into Animation Courtyard or beyond Animation Courtyard, beyond where the Star Wars launch bay is, where the backstage area and the office buildings are. If it goes there and Muppets is saved, yes, it is saved, but it's saved for now. We eventually, in time, things have to change, things have to get updated, upgraded, expanded, grown, whatever terminology you want to use. That I do believe that Muppet Vision will eventually go, and it's unfortunate to lose it completely. And I do hope that Disney uh puts it in the vault or the archives or saves it, preserves it somehow, some way, But I think as far as it just kind of sitting kind of stagnant in a sense where there's nothing to add more to it. It's just that where you could eventually get a whole new area and land for the next generation of theme park goers. I think that's the route Disney is going to go for sure. Again, it may or may not be for monsters, but if it's not, don't count your chickens before they hatch. That at some point it will become something else. The Giant Peter show. Let's see. And at the same time, Disney has the lingering possibilities of more Marvel at Disney World once the Universal contract expires. Yeah, Disney has many opportunities that can help. And our good friend of the channel, Drew the Disney Dude, and also Jack from DSNY Newscast mentioned that if Disney were to utilize all the expansion plots and pads right away, it then limits them of what else they can utilize it for. For instance, take the animation courtyard, for example. Yes, they could use that for Monsters Inc. But with The Incredibles 3 coming out, with just to say, for the sake of it, Elio, if Elio becomes a huge, tremendous hit, Hoppers, or as the Giant Peter show mentions, even with Marvel, if when the contract expires with Universal and Disney could eventually use it, they have a bigger plot of land to use an IP that is um more sustainable, to have more things in it than Monsters Inc. So whatever Disney decides, there's a legitimate reason. We may not know it, we may not understand it, but Disney looks 10, 15, 20 years down the road, and they're not going to tell us everything. There's a method to their madness, so to speak. But yes, that's actually a very good point. Giant Peter show. Let's see. All right, we have correct. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Correct. Do you think it's likely that we'll see Percy Jackson in the Walt Disney World parks? If so, which park do you think it's more likely to be in Florida? I don't know if we'll see Percy Jackson in the parks. I know the series really didn't do so well on Disney Plus, but they renewed it for a season 2, so I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. I did like the film versions of Percy Jackson that came out that wasn't tied to Disney at the time. But I mean, it's okay. I mean, I really wouldn't be. I wouldn't be too excited for it, but it's like if it was and it's something cool, I'd be like, I'll take a look into it. I don't think that they are, but for the sake of the conversation, if they did add Percy Jackson, probably Hollywood Studios. I think that would be a very good fit for that. And I think also too, like anything like with the Fox or 20th Century properties, if they were to utilize Alien, that can go well in Hollywood Studios, because guess what? Alien, in a sense, was kind of in there before, but they got rid of the great movie ride. And as I said, don't even get me started with that, because like that's a whole nother conversation there. I could just talk on and on about that, of why they got rid of that. I will never know why. Even if they didn't own Fox and 20th Century, that still was a very good ride that they could implement a lot of different IPs to put in and put in, take out, and what have you. But as I said, now that they own all those acquisitions, it would have been. I think honestly, if Disney would have acquired Fox before taking out the Great Movie Ride, I don't think they would have taken it out. They still would have put in Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, but I think they would have put it somewhere else. Because again, they kind of missed out on that opportunity, unfortunately. But and then also too with the Planet of the Apes, they can do that too. But I think honestly, Planet of the Apes would fit perfectly in Animal Kingdom. Just the architectural style and the mood of those films would fit very nicely in Animal Kingdom. Just like how, even though, as I said, I never thought Avatar would, but it fits well. It really does in Animal Kingdom. And I'm also excited to see how, well, I'm more so curious to see how they fit Avatar into DCA for the most part. Now, speaking of, now I talked a little bit about the Disney side as to why, like, not a lot of news has come out there lately, and that's probably why. Now, on the Universal side of it, there was some news that came out. They showed a lot of the some still like photographs of inside of uh, the Wizarding World of, well, not the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, but part of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter with the Ministry of Magic. I tell you of what I saw inside of that building, it looks phenomenal. It probably looks even better than the actual set that they used for filming Harry Potter, because you have to think, even though they build stuff for movies on a grand scale, you have to build it in a certain way where it's not a full 360. You only build to what the camera angle is focused on. And then they use a lot of blue screen or green screen, special effects, audio, what have you, that adds more into the film. But when you build something on a grand scope that gives you a 360-degree look and perspective of, like, no matter where you look, and that's what you expect to see in the films and like part of that world, the scope of that is phenomenal. And honestly, they said that Universal said that the ride is one of the most technological advanced rides that was ever built. So I'm very curious to see how, because I'm for sure they're going to have like kind of like a drop kind of sequence because you're in an elevator, but because it's Harry Potter, it's going to go sort of kind of like that Willy Wonka effect, goes upwards and downwards and forwards and sideways and slantways and, and all that. So tie that kind of into, that would be actually kind of cool to have that kind of effect for a Willy Wonka ride. Just saying, because I have heard that they are working on a Wonka sequel from the Wonka movie that just, the newer one that just came out. So that would be kind of cool. But anyways, yeah, with Harry Potter, I am very curious. I was talking to Abby about when we go to the grand opening for Epic Universe on May 22nd, that there are certain things that we want to experience, and if we can get into Dark Universe, experience that land, Donkey Kong Country, the Ministry of Magic area for Harry Potter, because I'm not too thrilled or excited about the Paris area for Fantastic Beasts. I never really was into that, really. I tried getting into the films, but it is what it is. But it just wasn't my cup of tea. It didn't hit the same way as Harry Potter did, and that's what I was saying earlier. That it's like lightning in a bottle. Some things work, some things don't. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so if we go into the Ministry of Magic, and then also if we see the How to Train Your Dragon live show, and even maybe the roller coaster, I'd be satisfied. That'd be a perfect day for me at Epic Universe. And then of course gonna walk around and everything and kind of get the feel, the lay of the land, and see how park operations go with this, because this is going to be very interesting, because going into the park itself is going to be crowded, but then once you're in the park, is there a process to get into each portal that connects to each land? Is there going to be a wait time? Is there going to be a return time? Is there going to be a virtual queue? Is there going to be a standing queue? Is it going to be, it's going to be very interesting to say the least, to see what's going to go on. But we will be there. We will be covering it. And I was talking also to Abby that I would like to possibly do a live show from inside Epic Universe. I don't know how well that's going to go, because I've never done a live on my phone before, but I'm going to test it out at Disneyland when I'm out there and see how it goes. And if it does, then you folks will have a live inside Epic Universe. Let's see. We have Remy D. Let's see. Have you been to Super Nintendo World at Universal Hollywood? What do you think about all the games? I find them overrated. Okay, so oh, and Remedy continues. Having 30 minutes just to hit a bunch of boxes is meh for me. So yeah, I didn't really play any of the games. Just like you, Remedy, I think that that's a waste of time for me. It's just not for me. The land itself, yes, I have been into Super Nintendo World at Universal Hollywood. Um, it is a nice land. It does fit well of how it is in the video games because it builds upward, um, more vertical than horizontal, which that's how the game is in the Super Nintendo. So that works out well, but I feel like it's still very crammed for it being a land because it's so popular and they have so many people in there at once. And I don't get claustrophobic. I can handle big crowds, but the last time I was in there, it was so crowded. It's like, you know what? I can't handle this. Like I gotta get out. Like it's nice, it's cool, but I gotta get out of here. And not to mention, it only has the one ride, the Super Mario Kart. It doesn't have the Yoshi ride or the Donkey Kong Country area that Epic Universe is going to have. And honestly, I'm not a fan of the Mario Kart. It's for me, I would have rather just it be a cool dark ride if they were going to do that. But to have physical sets and props tied with like a VR set, and you have holograms like floating above you, and you have to hit a target. You have to move your head a certain way to hit those targets. There's just so much going on, so much stimulation, and not in a good way for me. Uh, that the ride is just it's mad. But I do love the physical props and sets of Super Nintendo World. Or sorry, of Mario Kart, but also too of Super Nintendo World. I love how they add like the creatures and like the spinning coins and all that kind of stuff. So that's really cool. But yeah, I just feel like that the land is a little bit too small, and that's where I'm looking forward to Epic Universe, where um, it'll give a little bit more breathing room, and Donkey Kong Country will be attached to that. Which again, I'm really looking forward to that. The Donkey Kong coaster, where it's the illusion like you're riding in a like a mine cart, and you shoot out of the barrel, ride along the tracks, jump the track, and that's going to be really cool. I can't wait to experience that. But yeah, so there's just a lot going on with in the parks themselves, whether it's Disney, Universal, but yeah, we're just kind of like waiting it out and seeing. As I said, once the holidays are over, I have a feeling we're going to get a lot more news, to say the least. A lot more news. Let's see. We got Kiki and Luca. Hi, George. Hey, Kiki and Luca. How you doing? Glad you're able to join the live. As I said, this was another pop-up live. Wasn't planned, and I thought, yeah, why not? And we have Jason Hill. Hey, Jason. How you doing? John Campia reported that the Moana 2 review embargo is set for opening day. Should we be worried? Um, Interesting. I don't think so, because I for me, I just feel that Moana 2 is kind of um how do I put it? It's kind of like a safe bet, and I hate saying that because I don't like Disney kind of relying on their laurels to say, okay, let's just go with this because it's kind of a cop up. But Moana is doing gangbusters on Disney Plus right now, and the movie is uh, what is it, 8 years old already, and they're incorporating Moana into the parks. As I mentioned in a previous video, she's now going to be doing uh, meet and greets over at DCA, which I think is quite interesting because, as OG mentioned many times, they kind of beta test these things to see how well they do. And really, where does Moana fit well in California Adventure when they had her meet and greet over in Fantasyland, over by Alice in Wonderland? So who knows? Part of Disneyland Forward, that Moana attraction, kind of like or they may do something different because if Avatar is going into DCA, I doubt that they'll have two of the same kind of boat ride systems. That's for like, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that might go into Magic Kingdom, but they may do something different with Moana, especially because Walt Disney Imagineering showed that patent, where it showed Moana and Maui on the Wayfinder in front of that, like that big, like 180-degree screen, or what have you. And as I said, so Moana 2, I mean, they're already, ticket sales are, over expectation than what Inside Out 2 did. I think that they're anticipating a 200 million dollar domestic opening weekend for Thanksgiving. So yeah, I don't think we have anything to worry about for Moana 2. I think she'll do just fine. And let's see, Kiki and Luca says Moana is going to make bucko bucks. Yes, I agree. Yeah, we have. No, I don't think we really have anything to. I think we had more to kind of worry about with Inside Out 2, because even though Inside Out was a great movie, it made profit on for Pixar and what have you, but you still never know, because a lot of times with sequels of movies that you're not 100% sure, it kind of it may hinder with, does it live up to the expectations of the original? But Inside Out 2 proved that. And it actually ended up helping the original, because a lot of people were watching the first Inside Out on Disney Plus before seeing Inside Out 2, or they were watching Inside Out 2 and then it's like, you know what? I feel the need to watch the original again. So it kind of helps it in both ways. We have CSRS. Let's see. Will the Pixar Place Hotel looming over the Simba lot affect the immersion of lands in that area? Will Disney go for the land themes where a tower over the area will not be an issue? Great question, CSRS. For me, I mentioned this before. I think that they may kind of tackle like certain aspects of the park where, yeah, you won't have something like looming over the hotel where it's like in the eye point of the park view. But also, that makes me wonder what the future is for expanding more of Pixar into Disneyland Forward for the Simba lot. And OG is not a huge fan of the pier, but for me, I still think adjacent to the pier, they're going to add more Pixar. And I do apologize, folks. There's the hype train. It's come by to say hello during the solo live. But for me, I just feel that, I tell you, every time I talk, that is so rude and inconvenient. It's like I'm talking, but the train is like, honking its horn. It's like, I'm the Italiano. Show some respect, will you? But anyway, sorry. So with the Pixar Place Hotel, because it is themed to Pixar, if you have an outdoor kind of viewpoint of the park, it's going to aim over towards Pixar Pier, because then you have that optic angle. Okay, Pixar Place Hotel, Pixar Pier. But from what Disney was saying, that you're going to get a 360-degree of moving forward of whatever they utilize in the Simba parking lot. That tells me that wherever the other park view is going to be inside that hotel, are they not going to really care that if you're staying in a Pixar themed hotel and you look out and you see Pandora, if it goes over there or what have you? And that's why I was thinking, maybe that they would eventually consider putting Coco over there, because Coco is Pixar. It would be adjacent to the pier and it would be connected close by to the Pixar hotel. So plus, because if they're going to start the construction in 2026, if it was just going to be just a single attraction, which it is, I kind of hope and wish that they would do a like a Mexican village tie to it. That would be awesome. But if they're going to start it in 2026, could that possibly mean They may put it over by the Pixar Hotel, which would mean it's going to dip into Disneyland Forward, or is it just going to go behind the Incredicoaster in where the parade um, the parade float buildings are? Which again, they would have to then move the parade floats. So we'll see how that goes for sure. For sure. Kiki and Luca. Let's see. Moana is the biggest movie ever on Disney Plus. Number wise, audiences have watched 80 billion minutes worth of it, which equates to watching it 748 million times. That is awesome. That is like mind blowing. I'm telling you, something about that movie. As I said, it's a very good movie. I love the music. I love the soundtrack. I love the characters, the storyline. Um, so yeah, we'll definitely see how it goes. Remy D, let's see. I find it strange that Moana live action movie is coming out only a year or so after Moana 2. Yeah, that's going to be very interesting, Remy D, because sometimes I always say this, too much could be too much, if that makes sense. That a lot of it could be too much. But being that it's in a live action format and it's gonna showcase The Rock being his character, but not animated in live action, we'll see how that goes. That movie can go either way. I think it's a sure bet of like Moana 2 because it's an animated film, but to then wait a year later and go back to the original as a live action, especially when the movie's not that old to do a live action, but like right off of the sequel. I don't know. Like, I mean, I think a lot of people are kind of like dying out of the live actions, but you never know. As I said, going back to my original conversation in the very beginning, it's like that lightning in a bottle effect. You just never know. So yeah, we'll have to see. And Remy D continues with a different actress too. Yeah, that I was a little well. Okay, I'm not gonna talk smack about the actress because I'm for sure she is of good talent. Disney would not hire her if she wasn't. Um, but I just find it interesting that Ali Carvalho is only going to be, I think, executive producer with The Rock while he stars in it and she does not. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Kiki and Luca, let's see. You look fresh and relaxed tonight, George. Well, thank you, Kiki and Luca. Yes, I am. I am fresh, even though this 5 o'clock shadow is coming in. And yeah, I'm kind of. It's a chill, lay back, relaxed kind of night for a solo live with the Italiano. Story time with the Italiano. Oh, well, speaking of which, story time. Has anyone seen the Deadpool and Wolverine kind of like Christmas story time with Deadpool? I'll get to see it when I come out for the beginning of December. But if anyone has seen it, let me know how it was because I heard that it's really good. Let's see. It's Florentine, and literally, it's Florentine. Do you think the Lion King flume ride for Disneyland Paris is a test for the? Let's see. The Tokyo Motivation Tokyo to replace Splash Mountain, or would Tokyo decide their own path this time by unless proven successful? Oh, good question. For me, being that Tokyo Disneyland is run by OLC, the Oriental Land Company, excuse me, I feel that they would still make the final call. If they decide whether or not that it is a success, they may go that route, or they may do something totally different. I know there is talks that they were consider replacing Splash Mountain. I know Disney has been trying to encourage them to replace it. But right now they haven't made anything. It may just stay Splash Mountain for a little bit longer. But in time, I think if OLC sees a storyline or an IP that would fit, they may, they'll choose it, or they may go along with the Lion King if it is successful, which, I mean, it's Lion King. So, I mean, but I don't know how well it's proceeded in Tokyo. That's going to be interesting. Plus, also, too, with it being in Disneyland Paris, I'm curious to see how they handle that during the cold winter months. I'm assuming that's probably when it'll go down for its refurbishment time. Yeah, so that would be interesting. Kiki and Luca says, I'll be at Tokyo Disneyland next Monday. Well, how come you didn't take me? I could fit in the suitcase. No, you definitely have a fun time at Tokyo Disneyland, Kiki and Luca. Safe travels, and can't wait to hear all about your adventures when you return. If you'd like to come on the channel, which I think we did discuss it before, you're more than welcome to come on and share your stories and experiences and all that good stuff. And we have, let's see, Mr. Mouseword Bound. Hey, George. Hey, Mr. Mouseword, how are you? DCA is celebrating its 25th anniversary in 2026. Should we expect any sort of celebration? If so, what? Ooh, interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because I was also talking to OG about this, that there are some milestones that are going to be coming forth, and I completely forgot about that. Yeah, silver anniversary of DCA in 2026. Well, let's see. They may utilize it because nothing is really going to be going on. I mean, you have the 70th anniversary of Disneyland that's going to start next year. Then you have the 25th anniversary of DCA. They may do something, and I hate to kind of say this, but I know that like all the other parks, with Animal Kingdom, with the 15th anniversary, 20th anniversary, they just kind of like have just like a little celebration for it. I don't know how big they'll do it. I'm for sure maybe they'll deck the park out maybe like in like silver 25th anniversary. They may have some merch, some food offerings, desserts, and stuff like that. I don't think they'll go hog wild because of Disneyland's 70th. They're going to kind of want to stretch that celebration, or they kind of may tie it in together, Disneyland's 70th and DCA's 25th. So they may do that. And then we also talked about too, in 2028, when the Olympics come out into California, to try to draw some crowd attention, that's also going to be Mickey Mouse's big 100th anniversary. So I'm for sure they're going to do something spectacular for that. That's going to be nothing short of a small event. I know that for a fact. They will do it up for Mickey's 100th for sure. So yeah, that could definitely help. And we did also do a video on Mickey Mouse's 96th birthday that we just celebrated, and we did talk about it a little bit of what may to come in 2028 for his 100. So if you haven't checked out that video, definitely check it out on the Orange Grove 55 page. Let's see. Remy D, we cannot hear any train noise. Oh, that's interesting. I always thought you guys could maybe hear the train. That's interesting. So, okay, so maybe I won't have to interrupt what I'm saying because the train is being so rude and disrespectful. If you can, let's see. It's Florentine asking Kiki and Luca, is it your first time going to Tokyo Disneyland? And Kiki and Luca responds, third time. I'm still waiting on my first, so you're 3 ahead for me. Let's see. Kiki and Luca also ask, is there a consensus on where Avatar is going in DCA yet? Yeah, we're still kind of going back and forth either between Hollywoodland and the Simba lot. I feel like with the Simba lot, they can really get creative of what they want to do with this, and that's how James Cameron is. He's a creative innovator, just like how Walt was, and he's very meticulous, and he's a stickler when it comes to his baby, and Avatar is his baby. So he's not going to do nothing under par. It'll be to the same impact that Pandora was on Animal Kingdom that they'll do in DCA. Plus, with new technological advancements, new ride system, it'll be much better. Plus, you'll be able to see Pandora at night, which you can't see in Animal Kingdom anymore because of the animals and what have you. And again, I don't even know why they even incorporated the bioluminescent forest if you can't use it, but DCA will be able to have it. So yeah, either between the Simba lot or Hollywoodland. Now the thing with Hollywoodland, again, I still can't see it there. Not saying that they can't put it there. Disney can do anything. I just can't see it fitting. No, let me take that back. It'll fit. I just can't see it working in its environment the way that it should. Because when you walk into Animal Kingdom and you're walking, it kind of you escape into Pandora. Where when you walk into DCA, you're walking down Buena Vista Street, bank a left at Carthay Circle, and then what's the transition into Pandora? But again, if they decide to do that, I think the land is going to be split, and I feel like that the backlot area into the bus load unload area will become Pandora, and I feel like the Hyperion Theater and everywhere over there, even the long stretch into Hollywoodland, might be connective land tissue for Avengers Campus. Not saying that they might add more attractions. You never know, but I mean, there's a lot of attractions in Fantasyland, so they may do it. And Marvel is a big enough brand where they can do that. But I think they need more in Avengers Campus to kind of like not landlock it completely if that whole thing becomes Avatar. Let's see. Remy D. Thoughts on the upcoming Six Flags? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Qiddiya I'm sorry, I greatly apologize. I don't know how to pronounce it. In Saudi Arabia with the 640-foot tall coaster Falcon Flight. I don't honestly, Remy D, I don't really follow too much on Six Flags. I do know, they're trying to kind of like work some things out because Six Flags really isn't doing that well. And then they just had the IAAPA convention down in Florida where they have like they showcase all like the future like technology in the parks, not just for Disney or Universal, but like for Six Flags, for Hershey, for even smaller kind of like venue places. So it's always interesting, to see new versions of like roller coasters and everything because I am a coaster king. They called me the coaster king growing up, and I am also a throw junkie. So for sure. CSRS, I think Avatar is going into Hollywoodland as they want to address the first before they touch the Simba lot. I think Cameron would have objections to the Pixar Place Hotel looming over the land. Yeah, see, I agree with that too. I do see your point there, and that's why I think even if they do put Avatar over in the Simba lot, I don't think it would be near the Pixar Place Hotel. That's why I still think that they would add more Pixar IP if they were to put even Coco there to kind of offset it. But I do see your point, CSRS, just in general. And yes, I do know that Disney's trying to kind of utilize its footprint, before, utilizing that land and what have you. But I am also curious to see that DeMauro doesn't also want to piss off Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige has a lot of say-so, so to speak, and DeMauro doesn't want to get on his bad side because DeMauro is still in running for CEO. So, he was kind of like pressuring Josh to kind of, go big, do something better. And I don't know if they're going to want to landlock Avengers Campus. So it's very curious to see like what is to become like between with Marvel and Avatar for sure. Let's see. Remy D. Seeing the Flying Dragon tech over Isle of Bark at Epic, Disney could be using that for Pandora for their Banshees. I absolutely agree. That would be awesome. I don't know if there is a I'm for sure that I don't know if there's like a copyright patent for that because I do know that Disney did utilize that kind of technology when they had a dragon flying over Magic Kingdom. I don't know if it was like a beta test like for something for like Maleficent or what have you. That was like years ago, but I do agree with you. I think if they were to utilize that kind of tech for the Banshees flying over Pandora, oh, chef's kiss from the Italiano. But yeah, the dragons flying over the Isle of Berk, that definitely will bring more life into that land, because I feel like out of all the lands over at Epic Universe, I feel like the Isle of Berk is kind of like a little bit of a miss for me. I do know that it's more geared towards kids, so that's cool, and it's kind of based off of like the camp kind of set for like the How to Train Your Dragon series. I do hope in time that I think a land that would work perfectly in Epic Universe, which is definitely Epic, would be Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit series. Like that would be, if they put the Lord of the Rings, sort of kind of like how they did with Harry Potter, where they kind of meshed the Ministry of Magic from Harry Potter, but then the Paris, France for the Fantastic Beasts. I would love to see like a mesh combination of the Hobbit series to the Lord of the Rings series, and they kind of have like two separate lands, but all in one. I think that would be really cool. And then we have Isidoro Rendon. Was so excited to see the Disney Italiano followed me back on Blue Sky today. Yes, thank you very much. Happy to follow you back. And yeah, I'm starting to kind of dip into Blue Sky a little more. As I said, right now I'm having some issues with X, formerly known as Twitter. So yeah, we'll see how Blue Sky's going. You know, obviously it's, you know, I'm trying to kind of pick up the pieces where I left off of Twitter to move over to Blue Sky. So yeah, definitely, if anyone is on Blue Sky or is thinking about joining Blue Sky, look me up under the Disney Italiano. Follow me, and more than likely, I will follow you back. Let's see. We got Lucas and Disney. Hey, Lucas, how's it going? Hey, George and the viewers. Happy Wednesday. Well, happy Wednesday to you, Lucas. Glad you could join in the solo live today. Let's see. And it's Florentine. Say, hey, what's up, Lucas? Let's see. And Lucas continues. We going to buy Mega Million so we can pay for Tower Suite at the Disney Treasure. Yeah, that price tag for the Tower Suite on the Disney Treasure is, good Lord. It's beautiful. It's breathtaking. But if I'm going to pay that amount, my Italian ass is not leaving out of that tower, because I would have to like get my money's worth for everything it's got. Because I mean, what is it like? I don't even know. Like, it depends on like what sailing you're going on to, but I think for I don't even know. It was like what, 25,000 or something. I can't even remember, but it was something astronomical. But eventually, I do want to experience the treasure. Just kind of waiting for the price tag to dip down a little bit. I was looking at some of the sailings. They were between like the 44 and like $4,800 range for two people, which really isn't that bad for a 7-night on a brand new Disney cruise ship. As I said earlier, the Disney Treasure will be the 6th ship in the fleet, and by 2031 there'll be 13 ships. And again, they'll probably still be making more, because if you really think about it, 13 ships really isn't a lot compared to some of the other cruise liners that got like 25 plus ships added underneath their belt. So Disney is still a baby at it, but they're growing. Yeah, they're moving on up like George and Wheezy. Let's see. So, oh, and by the way, the Tower Suite on the Disney Treasure, I believe, is designed to kind of have the aesthetics of Epcot, which I thought was really cool. Mr. Mouseword Bound. If Avatar goes in the Simba lot and they expand Avengers Campus in Hollywoodland, I think Wakanda in the back lot is a no-brainer. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Mr. Mouseword, because OG and I were discussing that too, because even if they wanted to expand the Marvel brand, they can go outside of the campus in a sense, but by utilizing a different location in the Marvel universe, Wakanda being one of them. I do know that our good friend of the channel, Hey Bricky, kind of covered this in his voting poll video, and also in the very beginning when they were kind of like cross promoting, marketing Disneyland forward to get it up and running, Wakanda was one of the lands that was mentioned. And I thought it was uh, quite interesting that Wakanda was mentioned. And, being that they are going to utilize Wakanda in Avengers Infinity Defense. Again, I got to get used to saying that name. Like, I'm so used to saying Avengers E-Ticket. So, and it's not kind of like, it's not like the best title of a ride to roll off your tongue. But anyway, I digress. But Wakanda is going to be part of that ride. So I think to kind of utilize Wakanda, because it is kind of like a foreign type land that is, fictional to Marvel, but it also incorporates real life human technology. Oh man, that would be. I would agree with you. That's a no brainer. I would definitely consider putting Wakanda in the back lot for sure. Plus, it can kind of also help with the monorail, because I know that they can kind of hide the monorail if they put Avatar back there, but I feel like Wakanda or even Zootopia would go well with the monorail, where they wouldn't have to hide it, because it's that uh, kind of cityscape, or kind of, as I said, like tech kind of motivation for Wakanda that they can utilize for sure. But yes, I definitely agree with you. Let's see. Lucas says $90,000 for December holiday Christmas week, 7 nights. Jesus Christ, that is insane. Insane. $90,000 during the holiday season for a 7-night on the Disney Treasure in the Tower Suite. $90,000. Holy shit. Yeah, we would definitely need a Mega Million hit ticket for that one, Lucas. Holy crap. Let's see. Joey, let's see. What were your thoughts on live action How to Train Your Dragon trailer, and also are planning to watch Wicked and Gladiator this weekend? Let's see. Okay. So let me restart that over. What were your thoughts on the live action How to Train Your Dragon trailer? And I'm assuming you're planning to watch Wicked and Gladiator this weekend, Joey. I think that's what you were saying. So, first off, I did see the stills and the trailer. I think honestly, the How to Train Your Dragon trailer looks phenomenal. I love how they keep the essence of the animated film, but make it in a live action format. It didn't really work with me with The Lion King. I love The Lion King, but I feel like they made it too real, where you couldn't get no emotion off of the characters because they literally made them like animals. Like that was okay for me. I still prefer the animated movie more. But again, the live action, if you can call it the live action Lion King, the computer CGI version of the Lion King still did gangbusters, in the movie theaters. So, but yes, I'm very excited to see How to Train Your Dragon, the live action. Plus, I think it'll definitely help the cross promotion with the Isle of Berk at Epic Universe. It keeps that franchise alive, because when they decided to do How to Train Your Dragon, I'm thinking, okay, it's a series that's not really moving the needle at any point right now. So it's like, but this brings it back alive, sort of kind of how like they're doing with Ice Age after how many years they're doing an Ice Age 6. So eventually could possibly see Ice Age going into the parks as well. Because as I had mentioned on a previous solo live, Disney was considering putting Ice Age and Rio into Animal Kingdom. And now that they own, the rights for that, they definitely can. I am very excited. Here's the thing. I loved seeing Wicked on Broadway. It's a very good show. I am very curious about the film. I know a lot of people are anticipating banger numbers. They're really promoting and marketing the hell out of this movie, with all the actors part of the film and everything. And I could definitely see good friend of me and OG and on the channel, Tyler, said that he was asking me, could you possibly see Wicked coming to like the Universal parks? And he mentioned like an attraction, like a dark ride or something. And I said, I could actually do you one better. I could possibly think that they may do the first ever Oz inspired land at a theme park, like that's based off of the films. And I believe Wicked is only part one. There's going to be a part two. And this movie is already at a running, I think, of what, 2.5 hours. So if there's going to be a part two to this, if part one is going to do gangbusters, part two is going to be like high on a broomstick, no pun intended. And then Gladiator. So yeah, so I'm very curious to see your thoughts on. I mean, I've seen the first Gladiator. I'm not too like in a rush to see this one, but I mean, I've heard that it may do very well. So I'm very curious to see how that goes. Lucas, speaking of Wakanda, Disney Animal Kingdom could get Africa extension with Wakanda Land, and I think it's not within Universal contract scope too. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't, because here's the thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks. Anyone in the chat that knows this, because in the Marvel Superhero Island at Universal, even if they don't utilize the characters that come out or it's in a ride, if they're showcased anywhere, even if they're on a mural, they cannot, use them in a Disney park. Is Black Panther showcased anywhere in Marvel Superhero Island? If it is not, then they could utilize that. And honestly, again, I feel like with Wakanda, they can use the nature side of that kind of world in Animal Kingdom. It fits. The technological side, with Shuri, with the technology and all that kind of stuff, that would fit well in DCA. So you can kind of get the best of both worlds of that. Let's see. Remy D. I just read that Disney was looking to buy Knott's Berry Farm in the 90s. Would have set the precedence for the Universal Orlando plus Epic situation. That's interesting. I did not know that. I have to read that article. I do know that the two Walts were not best friends, but they were good, like, understanding of the business and partnership. They talked a lot and what have you. So, with Walt Disney and Walter Knotts, I'm meaning, and kind of Knott's Berry Farm, set the stage for Disneyland. Because it was like that, like old traditional classic all-American theme park, So yeah, that's very interesting. I wonder what would have happened if Disney bought Knott's Berry Farm. But in a way, I'm kind of glad. I love Knott's Berry Farm being, what it is. I've been there twice. I absolutely love their food. I think they have some of the best food in amusement theme park business. And I'm going out for a third time when I'm out in December. I'm gonna do the triple threat. I've never experienced the Christmas holiday season out in California, and I'm going to experience Disneyland for Christmas. I'm going to experience Grinchmas up at Universal Hollywood, and I'm going to experience Knott's Berry Farm. So yeah, that's going to be fun. Let's see. And it's Florentine. Will be interesting how they pair versus Disney on remakes. Let's see. I'm not understanding that, Florentine. If you can kind of elaborate on that a little bit. Let's see. Teo. Yeah, those lounges from the Treasure look so good. I already wanted to try a Disney cruise, but it feels like a cruise that has more themes I personally enjoy. Yeah, Teo, honestly, if you're looking to do a cruise, go with Disney. When they literally say the difference is Disney, it really is. I think, honestly, you would absolutely love a Disney cruise. Whether you start off with the Disney Treasure or the upcoming Disney Destiny that'll sell out of Fort Lauderdale next year, or if you take one of the original classic ships, the Disney Magic or the Disney Wonder, or the Disney Fantasy Dream, or even the Wish. I would strongly suggest, and this is just my opinion, nothing against the Disney Wish, but I would kind of experience the Wish first, because I prefer the older kind of style of the Disney Cruise Line that they used from the Magic Wonder, Dream, and Fantasy. I'm curious to see how the treasure is kind of like the same, Triton class of the Wish, but I'm not a huge fan of the setup of the Wish, but it's still a great ship. I've been on the Wish twice. Actually just done a double dip cruise this past September. I went on a 7-night Caribbean cruise on the Fantasy and a 4-night Bahamian cruise on the Wish. That was my second time on the Wish. I still enjoy it. Any ship on the Disney Cruise Line fleet, if you have the opportunity, take it. But I say go on the Wish first because I feel like if you go on one of the older ships first and then do the Wish, it becomes kind of like it sets the bar standard, like as far as like the aesthetics of how the ship is built. And you're like, okay, I don't really, that was kind of like lackluster. So I would kind of start off with the Wish if you could, and then, move into some of the older ships. But I still am very excited to experience the Treasure and the Destiny for that point. Okay, Joey, I'm excited for the live action How to Train Your Dragon. I am a big fan of those movies. Yeah, as I said, Joey, like the trailer and the stills look phenomenal. I love how they incorporate the animated feel, but they're making it live action. And I do agree with you. I do love the franchise of How to Train Your Dragon. It's some of the best films that DreamWorks Animation had released. Dare I say it, I actually enjoy them more than Shrek. I do love the Shrek movies, but I prefer the How to Train Your Dragon films more. Also Kung Fu Panda. Let's see. It's Florentine. Big summer for How to Train Your Dragon with film and land at Epic Universe. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, this is going to be a big opportunity for them to utilize both in the theme parks and the theaters for How to Train Your Dragon. Let's see. Joey continues. I could see Ozland, Epic Universe in the future. That is a very possibility. They may incorporate an Oz area for Epic Universe, or it could be part of the expansion or change up for Islands of Adventure, or even the studios. I could definitely see like an Oz type area for Wicked coming to Universal in general. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Joey continues. I would love to see Stranger Things land or attraction at Universal in the future. They very well may. I know Universal utilizes Stranger Things, for a lot of like promotional things, and like during Halloween time, I believe that they utilize Stranger Things. I don't know if, it is very popular, so I don't know like how well it would go to sustain a whole land, but maybe an attraction. I could definitely see that for sure. It's Florentine. How to Train Your Dragon live action versus Disney live action remakes. How Universal could crush Disney with their. Okay, I got you. Thanks for clarifying that, Florentine. Yeah, it very well could be, because as I mentioned earlier, the way that the look of How to Train Your Dragon live definitely seems like it would outdo what they were trying to do with The Lion King. But now this also will play into the effect that we mentioned earlier with the Moana live action, and Disney is going to want to not cheap out on Moana, because with the banger numbers that the first movie's doing on Disney Plus, the sequel is doing well. The live action, they can't have a shortcoming with it. So they're going to pull out all the stops. And honestly, How to Train Your Dragon may kind of pave that way for them to say, hey, let's look at this and how can we like broaden this, and plus also too, the Moana show, live show is going to be showcased on the Treasure as well. So again, Moana is practically popping up everywhere. And here's my babe. She's back. I can't wait for my first Disney cruise. Yes, I'm very excited for you to experience that, and I get to watch you experience your first ever Disney cruise, because I always say this to everybody that has never taken a Disney cruise before. The second you step foot on that ship and you're in the lobby atrium and you see the statue, you see the grand staircase, the chandelier, the elevators, the hallways, it just hits you all at once. And you don't even get to do not one damn thing yet. You're just standing there after the phenomenal greeting by the Disney cast and crew. And they announce your name and they welcome aboard the so and so family, and they give you a round of applause. They clap, they welcome you in, and they have Disney music playing throughout the ship. It's phenomenal. And yes, it will be Abby's first Disney cruise ever in May. It's going to be a big. We're practically going to be gone the whole entire month of May. We're doing. I'm going to be out there at the end of April. Possibly do a little bit of some Disneyland, then fly back out here to Pittsburgh, fly down to Florida for Walt Disney World, Disney Cruise, Universal, fly back to Pittsburgh for a little bit. Then her and I fly back out to California, and I'm out there, I think, until June 10th, if I have that correct. So, yeah, so basically from the end of April to the second week of June, I'm just a busy Italiano. Let's see. And as Florentine says, Bon voyage, Abby. You will have a jolly swell time. Yeah, she definitely will. Yes, for sure. We are going to have a blast. Let's see. Lucas says, what's your opinion about Star Wars Rey Skywalker saga removing official release date and leaving it as currently unknown? It doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't. Anything that, and I was talking to OG and Seymour about this, that no matter what they try to do with Lucasfilm, it just seems like you can't take it serious. And unfortunately, I really hate to say this, as long as Kathleen Kennedy is running the show over at Lucasfilm, that's what it's going to be. I am very glad to see that they recently updated the Mandalorian and Grogu film title, because that shows that that's still moving forward, and they're going to have to. I mean, when you make an announcement by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni that there's going to be a Mandalorian movie, and then you cancel it, not a good look. Not a good look at all. I am curious to see Kathleen Kennedy's fate when Iger steps down from CEO and they have a new CEO, of like how that plays into part with it. I'm not sure if it will at all, but I think Mandalorian and Grogu and I'm drawing a blank, folks. The Star Wars show with the young kids that's coming out on Disney Plus. Why am I drawing a blank? The skeleton something. If anyone knows, please help me out. I'm drawing a blank. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me whatsoever for the Rey movie. I'm not holding my breath of anything for Lucasfilm. Whatever they decide to come out with something, then can't wait. Kiki and Lucas says Wicked is projected to have big box office. Yeah, I think at the end of this year, Mufasa is gonna do decent. I think it'll do decent, but Moana 2 and Wicked is definitely going to take home the bacon for sure. Lucas, let's see. Not sure if you are aware, Soarin' Around the World in Epcot just got revamped for curved Eiffel Tower and the new World Showcase. Guess they'll have to fix the LED floors now. That's interesting. I did not know, but I'm glad to see that Soarin' is getting some love. I mean, as I said, I have my own personal opinion on Soarin' right now. It is a very good ride. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like with all the newer technology, I feel like that they can kind of give us something like that, but they can update it with like a newer kind of technology or ride system and just give us something more. Just give us something a little more, Remy D says, oh, and speaking of which, with the LED floors, yeah, I don't know moving forward if Disney should keep the those kind of LED light floors. I think it's a technological nightmare in a sense for maintenance and operations. I know what they were trying to go for, but I'm moving forward. They really shouldn't, do it because I think it's just going to be costly. They're just going to have to keep on repairing them and fixing them. And honestly, dare I say, they may even rip them out and just put just brickwork there or something. So anyway, Remy D, objectively, what do you think is the best dark ride attraction in the world from any park, whether you have rented it or not? Not favorite, but objectively the best. Well, I don't know as far as like all the dark rides in every park. I'll just more so just go off of Disney. It's kind of, well, I would say kind of two in my mind. I would say Mystic Manor. In Hong Kong. I love that kind of ride system, and I think the storyline is so like original and everything that I think Mystic Manor is great, and the Enchanted Tale of Beauty and the Beast over in Tokyo. I would pay just to ride that ride alone because that ride looks phenomenal. So I'd say, yeah, it was like a tie between Mystic Manor and the Enchanted Tale of Beauty and the Beast for sure. Yes. And Kiki and Luca says, George, if you guys think it's okay, I would love to go on the channel one time. My sister-in-law is physically disabled and we are going to Japan together. Absolutely, Kiki and Luca. As we had mentioned, whenever you're back, whenever you're ready, we'll definitely set up a time and date. And we'll definitely get her done. We'll definitely talk some Disney, Tokyo Disney, your experiences and everything. And much love to you and your sister-in-law for sure. And definitely have a great time. Let's see, Teo. Let's see. What's your DCL ranking? Ooh, good question. Okay. So now that I've been on, well, I was proud of myself. I thought I went on the grand slam of all of them, but then when I finally hit the 5th ship, then they announced, for the Treasure and the Destiny and the Japan ship and the Adventure and 4 more after that. So, but for the ships that are out thus far, for me, I would say the Disney Fantasy, the Disney Wonder, the Disney Dream, the Disney Magic, and the Disney Wish. That's my rank. Now, of course, when I eventually go on the Disney Treasure and the Disney Destiny and so on and so forth, then I'll obviously probably will change my ranking. But just with the 5 ships that are out right now, those are my rankings. The Fantasy, the Wonder, the Dream, the Magic, and the Wish, for sure. Good question, Teo. Kiki and Luca says, how about a Tokyo Disney Disability Access video? Absolutely. Whatever you're comfortable with. That it'll definitely be informative, to say the least, like of how to do an international Disney park with someone who, has disability. So yeah, that'd be really cool. That'd be good. See, it's Florentine responding to Lucas, New World Showcase, or you mean New World Celebrate? Sorry, folks. Mean New World Celebration fly through instead of Old Future World. Yeah, I think that's what Lucas was referring to. I kind of got that feeling too, but yeah, I had to think there for a second. I think that's what he was referring to, Florentine. But I'm for sure. Yeah, okay. He did confirm New Celebration. Let's see. Remy D. I once had a scare on a Disney cruise last year. Put our daughter in the Disney Kids Club. Went to pick her up in the afternoon, and they brought us another girl with the same name. Oh, my. Okay, that's interesting. Now, when they say they brought you, now, from my knowledge, I know when my son was in the Oceaneers Club and the Oceaneers Lab, we had to actually go, like, pick them up, and they will not let the child out of the club to the adults until you say like a certain code word or name or what have you, and they bring the child out, so is that what you're referring to? Because I'm not sure, you actually have to go and pick your child up. So I think that's maybe what you're referring to, but if you can elaborate on that. Lucas, yes, thank you. Skeleton Crew. And it was Skeleton something. I couldn't think of it. Yeah, so I think with the Mandalorian and Grogu film and the Skeleton Crew, I feel like that'll keep Lucasfilm above water for right now. I do love how they, with the Skeleton Crew, they took the approach of like it being like a kid show. So it's like a Star Wars Disney hybrid of like Stranger Things or something like that. That's really cool. Kiki and Luca, is Rise a dark ride? Um, yes, it does have its dark ride elements, but it's more of an experience. There's more than just going into like the load unload area, boarding the ride. There is a storyline to it. You board a like a kind of star cruiser, and it flies you to where you get captured by the First Order. You board their ship. You have to escape and everything. So it does have a dark ride element to it, but it's also a trackless dark ride. But there's more of an experience to it for sure. Let's see. Joey, let's see. Do you think Sonic 3 and Mufasa could be another Barbenheimer? Hence, they both are coming out the same day on December 20th. Ooh. It's possible. I don't know if they would have like record-shattering numbers like Barbie and Oppenheimer, but they may kind of go head-to-head for like who's going to withhold the top of the box office, because I think Sonic 3 and Mufasa may do kind of the same numbers. So it'll definitely be a busy weekend at the movie theaters for sure. And I am glad to see that movie theaters are starting to get some more love, like with all these movies, because I mean they definitely took a hit with the pandemic. So I'm very glad to see movie theaters kind of coming back. I enjoy going to the movie theater going experience, so it doesn't bother me. Let's see. Remy D, how much do you bet the anti-Disney YouTubers will prop up Wicked as soon as it starts showing numbers because it's Universal? Oh, absolutely. Like, if it's not Disney, they'll push it out to say, oh, look how great this movie is, which I'm not saying it's not going to be a great movie. It is going to be a great movie. As I said, I've seen the Broadway show. It's going to do banger numbers. But here's the thing. If you're going to give praise to Universal for Wicked, then give praise to Disney for Inside Out 2. Give Disney praise for Moana 2. Give Disney praise for Zootopia 2 coming out. Give it for Mufasa if it does well. We know Mandalorian Grogu is going to do well. Fantastic Four is more so probably going to do well. Speaking of which, of Fantastic Four, that's another kind of extension that they can use in Marvel. Not for DCA. I think honestly, Fantastic Four would do very well for an upgrade to Tomorrowland, which sooner or later I think we're going to end up getting, hopefully. Let's see. Remy D continues. Oh yeah, right. When we picked them up and they brought the girl to the gate, she was scared and confused. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So they probably called on the first name of your daughter, and it was, I guess they mixed it up, but luckily it didn't go anything farther than that. So yeah, that had to be scary for both sides of the party. And Teo, do you have a tradition every time you go to Disneyland? Like you have to ride a certain ride or get a certain snack? So Teo, I love every time I go to a Disney park, I love how each time it's a different experience. I never know what to expect, what I'm going to do, because I do have the blessing that I get to go to the Disney parks very often. So I don't have to make it my way of doing everything at once in one day. I kind of just have like a generalized, like calm, cool, collected pace, as the Italiano does. I love going on rides. I love watching shows. I love the atmosphere, people watching. So each time is different. So my expectations are that I don't really have anything set. I just kind of let the day take me. Although I will say recently that it has become a tradition moving forward that every time I go into Disneyland with Abby, that we end up riding Dumbo together, because Dumbo was the ride that kind of kindled our interest in each other during the Orange Grove 55 meetup. Something about that little elephant with the big ears, that when we sat in Dumbo, just the lights beamed on from the heavens, and it was like her and I just like looked at each other and we're like, okay, something's happening here. It's that Disney magic, that core Disney magic. So yeah, so we end up riding Dumbo as a tradition every time we're in the parks together. Um, for sure. Yeah. And again, that was during the first ever Orange Grove 55 meetup. We talked before. She knew me. She actually knew me before I knew her. She was my secret admirer for 5 years while watching me on the channel. And then when she did start talking and interacting with the lives and everything, her and I started talking. And then we met in person. And during the Orange Grove 55 meetup. And as I said, we went on Dumbo, and it was just a perfect moment. After the fact that we ended up kicking the kids out, that they went in our Dumbo. You know, like when you get in line and you're standing there, they put you on a color code with a number, and that's your Dumbo. Yeah, these kids were sitting in our Dumbo, and it's like, no, it's like, yeah, we could have went easily to another Dumbo, but no, that was the Dumbo we were assigned to. Get your asses out. We're sitting here. Don't piss off the Italiano, capiche? But Teo says that's sweet. Yes, it was. It was a very sweet moment. I finally have a Disney story, a unique Disney story. You know, like when people say, "Oh, I had a romantic time at Disney, and I met my, my girlfriend there, or my future husband there, or everything." And it's like, damn, I always wanted to have like that quintessential like Kodak Hallmark Disney moment, and I actually did get it. So yes, I'm very happy and blessed with that. Teo, I had the same Disney magic feeling riding the Fantasyland dark rides with my girlfriend. Pure classic Disney. Absolutely, Teo. That's what it's all about. It's like when you get that core, Disney magic, nothing's better. And Remy D, Tokyo Disney does a lot of things right, but one thing I wish the parks in the States would copy from Tokyo is making everyone sit for the parades. It was a game changer for our kids. I did hear something about that, Remy. So everybody has to sit. Like no matter where you're placed at for the parade, everybody sits regardless. If that, yeah, because I think I heard something about that. That's very interesting. So I mean, I can understand that point, because especially when you have a good spot when you're watching the parade or fireworks or any kind of entertainment themed venue that's going on, and then the last minute you get the tallest guy in the park, like 6'6", and he ends up putting his 5-foot child up on his shoulders, and it blocks your whole radar of everything. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I think that's really cool. Plus, also too, I do agree with you. Tokyo, they do a lot of things right that I do wish the domestic parks would adapt to. Although I have heard that for the Fantasy Springs, that they were having some issues with it, like for people to be able to get in, something like with the reservation or something. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if that's still going on. That might have been when it first opened, like operation wise. But despite that, I mean, their flaws are like very far in between. And I can't wait to experience Tokyo Disneyland. I can't wait to experience Fantasy Springs. I can't wait to experience Japan in general. Just the culture, the people, everything, the surroundings. It's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait. Kiki and Luca confirms you need to do virtual queue or VIP for Fantasy Springs. Okay, so that's still going on, that you need the virtual queue or the VIP for Fantasy Springs. Okay, I could somewhat understand that they're still going for that. Kiki and Luca, Japanese girls are cute, George. I bet they are. But no one's as cute as my girl Abby. Although I will say that OG would probably have a thrill day out there, because, as he always said, he's probably going to get a one-way ticket when we go for our trip. So, yeah, that's definitely going to be. But I like to thank everybody for joining me. It was kind of slow, like out of the gate, but I'm glad everyone was able to come in, join in, ask questions, be part of the discussion. So to everyone, for my almost hour and a half solo live with the Italiano, it's been great. Again, OG and I appreciate all of you, your support of the channel, whether it be becoming a member of the Orange Grove 55 channel. As we said, we do have more content coming out for members moving forward. We're going to try some in-park things. I'm going to try to do some in-park live, so definitely look out for that. Again, not 100% sure if that will go through correctly, but I'm going to try my damnedest to get her done, as Larry the Cable Guy says. But yeah, but we just appreciate you, whether you're a member of the OG55, whether you jump on for our lives, you support us by just watching our videos, interacting with us on social media. If you happen to see us in person at the parks or anywhere, don't be shy. Come up. We love you guys, and we appreciate every single one of you. Remy D, does OG do solos? He actually used to do solos. That's actually how he started the channel. It was just, him in front of his bookcase, in front of a camera. He hasn't done any lives recently, but I don't think he's ever done a solo live. That I don't think. But yeah, so if he ever gets the itch to want to do something solo, while I'm away or traveling or doing whatever, he very well may. You never know. But for this Italiano, you're definitely going to get some solo lives whenever I can. Yeah. So yeah, I want to, again, as I said, thanks everybody for tuning in. It's always a good time, with you guys. So yes, over my hour and a half solo live with the Italiano. Again, thank you everybody for joining in. Definitely look out for more. And as the Italiano always says, stay safe, stay healthy, stay Disney. Italiano out. And we're going to end it with the one, the only, the Queen.
Thank you for watching OG55. If you aren't already, consider becoming a member today.